So Matt, why don't you start off, just tell us what you do at LG so that we have an understanding of why you would know how to launch a successful FAST channel.
Oh, that's great. So my name is Matthew Durgan. I'm the Vice President of Content and Services for LG Electronics. We distribute our televisions globally. We have over 200 million televisions with activated WebOS, which is our operating system. WebOS is our operating system. It's a homegrown operating system that we've been putting in our televisions for over a decade. We're coming up on 12 years. So we have scale and reach of the same platform globally. And what we do is we create all the business relationships that manifest as great great consumer experiences that is continuing to drive up adoption of streaming.
Okay, yeah, we're going to play past the mic. Anyway, so, for years and years at this show, for years and years, as if this show's been going on for years and years, but the last few years, it seemed as if, FAST was like this gold rush, right? Like, you launch a FAST channel, you and everything, that was sort of the theme, is launch a FAST channel and get rich quick. But turns out that's not actually the case. So, as the guy who sort of, sees all of this, what are some of the things that people are doing correctly that allow their FAST channels to succeed?
First of all, I want to take a step back on FAST and paint it in a larger picture, right? So part of my role is to have great content partnerships all throughout the platform. I'll shout out to Peacock because I saw Jules for the first time in a couple of years. And, we built all these great relationships that are on the device, and it's the reason why you had this huge scale of consumers checking into the device. You're a consumer, you walk into your living room, you turn on your LG TV with your LG remote, and as Matt Knopf was saying, you wear the glass, so you got to put all these options in front of consumers. This was, the first 10 years of smart TV, and we redefined how consumers watch television, right? But you had to build an app. And so, that's really hard to do. And you're competing with some really excellent companies at doing that. You have a library of content or you're a content creator. And so you need to find a way to get your content distributed. FAST does that without you having to build a great experience to go compete with people like Netflix. And it's also a lot more like what television is, right? It's channel up, channel down. It's an EPG. It's also a homepage. It's a place for VOD. So it's something that's familiar for consumers. And it's free, so everybody can go in and have experiences as soon as they connect to the Wi-Fi. This is obviously a winning solution, but I don't like taking it out of the big picture, which is the entire smart TV. You're going to go to Peacock. You're going to watch the Olympics. You're going to watch a playoff NFL game. And then you're going to switch over to FAST, and you're going to watch something on the FAST environment. And BC is in both spaces. So I like to frame it in the big picture. You can be successful when you know what consumer you want to reach with the content that's priced at the right point for that consumer to go get that content.
Right, but are there certain things specifically that you've seen people doing, say, around promotion, around sort of even picking the type of niche content that, like, okay, these people succeeded when, the audience here is a lot of people who have this sort of content, so, like, give them a tip.
Yeah. So if I were launching a channel right now, I would launch the channel, I would have a brand strategy, I would go reach out to Matt Knopf and all his friends over at LG Ad Solutions, and I would start promoting the show the way that we always promoted shows for the last 50 years. I'd buy an ad. I'd get tune-in messaging going. I'd get people aware of my content. Absolutely, as a platform owner, I do take the responsibility of discoverability very seriously, making sure that the metadata is in, making sure that you're part of search and recommendation. So the platform will do some of the work for you. But I think when you launch the channel, you should not sit there and say, I launched the channel, I'm done, goal achieved, right? It's not enough. You still have to build a business and a brand and content awareness, and we're partners to help you do that.
No, that's great. So speaking of channels too, how much of it is, now we've been hearing a lot that on demand is becoming just as big. If you talk to Tubi, they'll tell you something like 90% of what's watched on Tubi is on demand. And I know, talking to everybody else, that's growing up. So how important is it to sort of have your on demand library and strategy match, that if somebody's watching your linear channel and they just want to start from the beginning, they can do that?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to the fast space. LG specifically has VOD for those consumers that prefer that experience. And same as what I was saying before, maybe you're going to go to a channel, you're going to have a great experience, but then, like you said, maybe you don't want to tune in the middle of something. Maybe you want to go start something at 15 past the hour and have an experience with VOD. LG also licenses that VOD content so that we can promote coming into the channels on a regular basis. So it could be the start of a session, right? You turn on the TV, you see the homepage. Last month we had all the John Wick movies, right? So, great time to see a John Wick movie, and then right before Ballerina comes out. And then maybe move from that to another channel experience. So we use VOD in a lot of different ways. Tubi's great with the VOD because it's a one-to-one recommendation. And so consumers love that experience on the platform. But it's really about satisfying consumers for what they want to do. Might be a VOD consumer. Maybe they go between VOD and FAST. Maybe they go between VOD, FAST, and another service on the platform. You have to have it all available.
Yeah. So you had mentioned the word personalization, recommendation in there, and that's something I want to drill into too. So one of the things that we hear a lot about is the problems around discovery, that people can't find the stuff that they want to watch, and then something we've been calling rediscovery. So I find something, I like it, and then a week later I go to tell my friend about it. I'm like, wait, where was that again? And I have no idea where I watched it. How are you guys looking to solve a lot of the discovery issues in your interface?
Yeah. First of all, the fast channels, 350, 400 channels, it's a lot of channels. It gives you a lot of opportunity to show a lot of diversity, right? So you have to have that metadata, you have to have that search. You need to be able to allow consumers to search for what they're looking for. The interface becomes extremely important, right? And LG was a pioneer in this. We had partnered with Zumo, who's in the room, and we were the ones who really put it into the television as television, right? I mean, this is a really important milestone, and I think we take this for granted. You can still go have an EPG experience. You could connect your antenna to the television, and now in the same EPG, you're seeing over-the-air and Wi-Fi channels all mixed into the same EPG. Why is that important? Because as a consumer, I don't want to think about what's driving that video into the television. I just want to go and surf content, find something to watch. So it's search, recommendation, and it's EPG, and having a good interface that allows consumers to go find what they're looking for quickly.
Very cool, very cool. So 10 years ago tomorrow, to the day, actually, one of the people on this stage wrote a book called Over the Top, How the Internet is Slowly but Surely Changing the Television Industry.
And it was you, right? It had to be
you. I guess it was. This guy is really good at guessing games. Anyway, so in the book, there was a chapter called The Spotifyization of Television, where the author had predicted that at some time we would start seeing personalized channels, sort of the way Spotify is doing these sort of For You playlists. And now we've got this thing called AI. Somebody take a drink. Are we gonna? Is that something that people would want? Let's start that, and then is that something you can see happening?
Well, personally, I'm a heavy Spotify user. I like the DJ feature. I don't know if anybody's tried this, but you have a personalized DJ in Spotify that customizes playlists based on what you've listened to. I think that's absolutely something that TV should be doing with AI. That's a good use of AI. And it won't take any jobs. I don't think that'll take any jobs.
Right, but do you think we'll start seeing, like, to your point, like we'll start seeing, like, Matt's comedy channel, Matt's drama channel, and different things like that, that can be that, so that it would seem it would make discovery easier, but then I hear other people say that, nobody would want that, and that TV shows are too long. It's not like music where, like, every 3 minutes there's something else.
I don't mind that implementation at all. I hesitate only on one simple point about that, which is I still think that there's value in the brand promise of the channel name, right? And I would be hesitant to erode that, because I think that if you're running a channel, your core promise to our industry is that you put great content together. And as an AI feature, I would much rather, as our search and recommendation develops, I'd rather create a playlist that connects people to those channels. But I don't want to discount the fact that you might be 100% right. That might be in our future. But just as a manager of a platform, I still feel a great sense of responsibility that our industry grows up with great brands that satisfy consumers with their content.
No, it makes sense. So speaking of finding everything, I was just having this discussion last night. So a couple of years ago, when Hulu Live TV launched, they had this beautiful interface, like it was, designer's dream of, of an interface where it was all tiles and based on what you were watching, and it was sort of intuitive. And I know from those guys that after like a year, after the first year, people were like, "Where's my damn grid?" Like, where are we with that now? Is the grid the best way to find stuff? Are we looking at a more sort of tile, or again, a more personalized kind of interface, or are we still in that mid-ground?
I think the grid's still very important. LG Channels, which is what we call our FAST service. Thank you for the name FAST, Alan. So LG Channels has really kind of both these ways of surfing the content. We have the EPG and we have the homepage where you can see all those tiles. And our excellent programming team is here, led by Michelle DeVildeware. And so we do like programming a homepage, but we also like our EPG guide. And I touched on this a second ago. EPG guides can blend in with other ways to get content, right? So like the traditional way of getting it over the air, and who knows what the fate is for ATSC 3.0. A lot of those folks aren't here. I know they're in DC, but you do have a home that consumers understand, they have 50 plus years of experience with, and it can combine into other ways to get content so consumers can get it all in one place.
Can you just explain what ATSC 3.0 is?
Believe it or not, as we are sitting here, there's television being broadcast through our bodies and through the air. And if you had a television with an antenna, you could actually still watch TV even without Wi-Fi, and that still exists. So ATSC 3.0 is the new standard of that. My only point being, EPGs fit all that together, right? Whether it's the traditional broadcast or the new form of broadcast, which is next gen. EPGs are a good home for both of that.
Right. So last question, which is sort of in that vein. I hear there's some advertisers, probably more than consumers, but it's also a consumer issue, is that with cable, if you wanted to reach science fiction fans, there was the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was the same everywhere. But with FAST, everybody's sort of curating their own little, version. Sometimes it's sci-fi and fantasy, sci-fi and horror, whatever it is. It makes it really hard. Do you think we're moving towards a way where where a lot of this stuff is sort of synchronized across all the, across you guys and Vizio and Samsung and Roku and everybody?
I think synchronization is a little bit further off. We've talked about monetization. We've talked about fragmentation. Your story before was excellent. Dark Ages. You touched on the Renaissance, but we didn't talk about what the Renaissance was, which was an amazing period of content creation, which we're probably in the middle of right now. And a lot of people have talked about this as being the golden age of television, right? So it's amazing that you can legitimately compare it to the dark ages and the golden age at the same time. So I think that's a testament to what we've built. But I think that part of that is being driven by the innovation that LG covets as a company. We want to be able to create new experiences and do it very quickly and satisfy consumers. And so I think that it's going to take a little bit longer for those things to become standardized. And onto advertisers, I would be really remiss not to say this, but if you're an advertiser, to me, fragmentation is not as big a problem as you think it is. But there's a real challenge between, do I go and create exclusive relationships with a few content companies, or do I go and create a few relationships with a few platforms, and what's going to give me the most reach? And obviously I'm on the side of the platform. There's way fewer platforms than there are content companies. So to me, that's going to be the easiest way to reach everybody. But I think that's a story for another time. My point is, let's not be worried about fragmentation as much. Let's just go reach consumers, and then let's monetize, and we'll continue to experience the renaissance.
Well, that is an excellent way to end it. Thank you so much, Matt. As always, this is great.